Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you with the April 13th review of Total Divas. Awesome show. Come home from work, all fired up, watch this. Luckily I was able to find a stream. Oh, I already closed it out. I was going to give them an awesome plug. Thank you to the person on Twitter who gave me the right away to get right to it, right as it came on. It was a live stream that just showed entertainment 24 hours a day. Thank you to the people over there in Europe taking care of us people over here in the world that don't have cable. Tonight's show is called Inhale, Exhale. And I guess since that is the title of the show is mostly about Natalya going up against AJ Lee at the TLC pay-per-view from last December. There was also a major storyline built up between John Cena and Nikki Bella. About John Cena out on the creep. He was telling lies behind Nikki's back. Nikki and Brie were able to catch up with him and make sure that basically he wasn't telling the truth, boy. And Nikki thought that John had a boy on the Nikki thought that John had another girl on the side that she was seeing, so they had to sit down and have a long talk. But basically, with Natalya had to sit down and she had to figure out, she had become #1 contender for the Divas Championship. It was her first time fighting on pay-per-view for a title in 3 years. She had been on pay-per-view before. She had the match at SummerSlam, the match that she said was the best match of her career. If Natalya's best match of her career was at SummerSlam, in that match, I think it was against one of the Bellas. I'm not sure. If that was the best match of your career, I apologize, Natalya. You need to go back home and rethink about what you're doing here. But basically, I couldn't believe the way that Natalya was talking about herself. She had to pick whether she was going to have this match against AJ or she was going to go home and get her nose fixed up after Summer Rae. Bam! One of the greatest moments in Total Divas history. What the 5 fingers to say to the face? Smack! I was telling everybody about this story today, telling everybody this is the reason why you needed to see Total Divas, why you needed to get back into the show. Season 2, Episode 4, and just last week we had the greatest hits moment of all time. Basically, I just couldn't really believe it. The way that Natalya talked about herself and the way that she just made herself seemed like her ego was one of the biggest egos in the history of wrestling. I guess maybe it's just the way the Hearts talk about each other. I don't know. Maybe when she was coming up, maybe Jimmy Amble Neidhart just told her that she was the greatest thing in women's wrestling in the history of ever being a women's wrestler. But she ended up deciding that she was going to go through with the match. She didn't want to lose her chance at going after the title. AJ did cheat, pulled her by the hair, rolled her up, and got the pin there. She wasn't able to win the title, of course. AJ held the title until just last week when she lost it to Paige at the Monday Night Raw following WrestleMania 30. So we all knew basically where this was coming from. The main match that was used was from a pay-per-view that we all saw. One of the last pay-per-views that WWE ever ran. Well, I guess you can say real pay-per-view now that they're heading into the special event era of wrestling. But it is what it is. For some reason, even though Nikki Bella was a big-time wrestler in WWE who has her own reality TV show, for some reason she went out and got her realtor's license. That way she could start selling homes in the California area. She passes her tests and she starts showing homes. She calls John and she says, I am showing the most awesome house today that looks out over the ocean. She was telling about how big it was. John, who's all about making sacrifices, wanted to be with Nikki, even though he told her basically, we're never going to get married, we're never going to have kids. I think that somebody on TV recently let the cat out of the bag that they are engaged at this point, so maybe that this will come along later up on Total Divas. But basically, with all this backdooring, John Cena was trying to find a way to buy this house for Nikki so they could have some place to live that she loved, that was sort of her dream house, that was sort of warm and cuddly, that they could basically be together. She could look out her window and look out into the ocean and everything like that. I don't know why you couldn't do this at John Cena's home in Orlando, which is a huge mansion that they put over last season when they had the Bellas sleepover with Daniel Bryan, and everybody was all going crazy, and Daniel felt like he was living at some 5-star resort because of how crazy and wild the John Cena lifestyle was. But basically Nikki and Bree thought that John was, lying and going behind their back, trying to, find a way to get another girlfriend, gets him in on the side. Everybody knows about John Cena's history with the strippers and the porn stars. That was a pretty fun rumor when that came out. But that was basically the rumor that was stated that why John Cena was getting divorced a little while back. But basically, in the end, John said that he was buying the house from Nikki to give to Nikki, and that they were going to move to California because that was where they wanted to live. It is what it is. Other major story was Trinity. Naomi shot a music video for the song that was recorded. Everybody knows from earlier in this show that her father is in the music business. They went and they tried to re-record the Brodus Clay Funkadactyl music. Funky is on a roll. Basically, back in the day, they were trying to get that as a way of showing Vince and showing the people in talent relations that there was more to them than basically their wrestling and their dancing and their pom-pom abilities on the way out to the ring. Honestly, the song is... I'm going to be awful glad that I never hear this song again in my life. I didn't think it was anything big. I didn't think it was anything spectacular. But all of the Bellas, all of the Diva division, Brodus Clay, the Usos, basically they all put it over like it was $1 million. But I think everybody knows from Cameron's song that she recorded and they were pumping up just a few weeks ago, that song went nowhere. Her song's going to go nowhere. And basically, Total Divas probably picked up the tab in order to give them a storyline for this show. The music video looked pretty cool. Song sucked, but it is what it is. So that was this week's Total Divas. I can't wait for next week's, which is for better for worse. They're going to show basically Naomi getting married. Eva's going to go through all those health problems that we all knew about, and she tells her husband that she's never going to be able to have kids. And then Nikki and Ariane help Natalya back into their ways with TJ. Basically, they have to get a sex therapist. They play up the fact that Natalya doesn't know what doggy style is. If Natalya doesn't know what doggy style is, give me a call. I'll hook her up. Peace out.